Hello everyone, welcome back to day 36 of Polity Daily Drill. Let's begin. First question. Consider the following resolutions: impeachment of the President, creation of All India Services, removal of the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, abolition of a Legislative Council. How many of the above provisions are mentioned in the Constitution? So, of course, impeachment of the President, Article 61. Creation of All India Services, Article 312. Removal of the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. This is mentioned under Article 90. In fact, the presiding officers and the deputy presiding officers, they are all removed via an effective majority, that is more than half of all the then members, right? So this is how we remove the presiding or deputy presiding officers at the central level or the state level, right? And also abolition of legislative councils, yes, Article 169. So all four provisions are mentioned in the Constitution. D, all four is the right answer. Moving on to question number 2. Consider the following statements regarding the sessions of the Parliament in India. It is based on a provision of the Government of India Act 1935. Absolutely correct. Like most provisions, this is also based on the Government of India Act of 1935. 2. India does not have a fixed parliamentary calendar. This is also correct. Number 3, by convention, Parliament meets for 3 sessions in a year. Yes, as a matter of convention, the budget session, the monsoon session, and the winter session. So this is also correct. Number 4, a special session can be held after approval of the Parliament by a simple majority. No, a special session is just a regular session which is held beyond these 3 conventional sessions. It will be called, of course, by the President of India. There is absolutely no need to have a parliamentary approval for the same. So, how many statements given above is or are correct? C, 3 only. Moving on to question number 3. With reference to the Lok Adalats, consider the following statements. They are voluntary agencies monitored by the state legal aid and advice boards. Number 2, it provides for setting up of legal services authorities at the central, state and district levels. So see, Lok Adalats, which actually operate as voluntary organizations, voluntary agencies, are overseen by the state legal aid and advice boards, making this the correct statement. In fact, these forums have been very effective alternatives for what we know as the dispute resolution through conciliation, right? And the Legal Services Authorities Act of the year 1987 grants formal legal status to the legal aid movement in the country and mandates the establishment of legal services authorities at the national level, state level, as well as the district levels. These authorities are financed through their dedicated funds, and additionally, Lok Adalats, currently informal, will also in future be recognized as statutory bodies, and decisions made by Lok Adalats are considered equivalent to a civil court's decree or a tribunal's order, and they are final and of course are binding on all the parties involved in the dispute, right? So yes, 1 and 2 are both correct. What's the right answer? C, both 1 and 2. Moving on to question number 4. The electoral bond scheme, which was recently declared unconstitutional, allowed which of the following parties to receive electoral bonds? Number 1, political parties registered under the RPA 1951, section 29, capital A. Absolutely correct. Number 2, political parties with a minimum of 10 years of existence. Now, there is no such criteria. which was required. Number 3, political parties secured not less than 1% of the votes polled in the last general election to the House of the People or the Legislative Assembly of the state. Those parties. Absolutely correct. So, how many of the above are correct regarding criteria to receive electoral bonds? B, only 2 is the right answer. And the last question for today, the fifth one, with reference to the Constitution of India, consider the following statements. The original Indian Constitution did not provide for fundamental duties for the citizens. This is, of course, correct. It was a later addition, Part 4A, Article 51, capital A, through the 42nd Amendment Act of the year 1976. Right? Second one, unlike the DPSPs, the Directive Principles of State Policy, fundamental duties are justiciable in nature. Sadly, this is not correct. In fact, just like DPSPs, duties are also not justiciable in nature. So 2 is incorrect. Which of the above statements is or are incorrect? So B, 2 only is incorrect. This brings us to an end of our discussion for today. Let's meet tomorrow. Till then, that's all for me. Jai Hind.